Today we are at the Redbird Gift Shop. This is a project that I designed 2 years ago. They just finished construction. It was a deli and a catering facility, and now it's a retail establishment and a production facility for the owners of online businesses. If you guys are new to the channel, my name is David Stumpf. I'm an architect, and this is one of my projects. We're going to be showing off how we transformed this building from what it was into this beautiful retail location. Behind the camera is my lovely wife, Sydney. She's going to be coming along on the tour with us today, and hopefully you guys will get a good sense of what it is that we've done with this building to make it an absolutely fantastic production facility and retail location for our clients. From the time our client originally reached out to us in October of 2023 to the point that we're here in October of 2025 to film this video has been 2 years of a lot of progress. The architectural portion of the project received the official start on November 8th of 2023, and we received our building permit on August 27th of 2024, which puts us at roughly 9.5 months to complete the architectural portion so that we can begin construction. For simplicity's sake, if we use August 27th of 2024 when we received our building permit as the start of construction until September 2nd of 2025 when they had their grand opening, the construction process lasted 1 year and 6 days, which is pretty typical for a commercial project, especially for a renovation as extensive as this one. This first part of the series is going to focus on the exterior, but be sure to stay tuned for part 2 where we focus on the interior renovation. As we start out, we're on the outside of the building, and one of the main goals for our client was to create an outdoor space they can utilize to host events. So right now we're on the left hand side of the building, and this is our outdoor patio space. We have 2 points of access to the building from this location. We've got our interior kitchen, that's part of the catering aspect of this project, and then we have an access off of our patio here, our covered patio, to what is the retail location for the Redbird Gift Shop. I'll have all of the information for the Redbird Gift Shop in the description of this video, so if you guys like anything here or you want to help out the business or purchase something, you'll be able to find that down below. One of the key points for this project was to make sure it was accessible. So our patio space here is actually higher than our parking lot, and we had to grade that land so that we can make sure that everybody can come in and access the building. Originally, the entrance on the front of the building had a large step down, so to be able to accommodate everybody, much like we did at our Leah's Floral Shop project, we direct everybody onto the side of the building, up the path, and straight in, and that way we have a zero barrier entry for everybody who wants to come into the facility here. We solved this problem for parking and accessibility the same way we did at our Leah's Floral Shop project, with parking in the rear and an accessible entrance on the side that over time became the main entrance, with the front stair entrance acting as a more symbolic entrance from the street for anybody walking by. If you guys are interested in learning more about that project, I'll leave a link to the video we created just for that in the description of this video. What do you think so far, Sydney? Do you have anything to add about the outside here?
I thought this would be a great space for like events, showers, birthday parties, stuff like that. Engagement parties.
Engagement parties. I think this would actually be absolutely.
Which is, I think they're planned after they get settled.
And on a day like today,
beautiful.
Sun shining, winds very low, perfect location for that, especially when the landscaping grows up. On that point, the landscaping here was all done to develop a sense of privacy on this side, but also blend what is this building into the neighboring area. As we kind of pan around here, you can see this is not a retail location. This is actually more of a residential area. We do have a main street out front here, and so with the owner's input, blended this into the rest of the residential area. So as we're walking around the building, you'll actually see that it feels more residential in its design aesthetic than it does a commercial building. We're going to leave the patio space here. We're going to step down and move over to the left-hand side here. So this is the front of the building, and originally the building did not have this extension. This was something that we added to be able to give a covered space for the patio and a lot of alternative options for how you set up an event. We played with different options for signage. Originally, the deli that was here had a sign that was out at the street. It was actually harder to see than what this is because it was elevated, and this being a 2-lane road, you're zipping by that before you're actually seeing the sign. Now your eye is drawn to the building, and they're bright, beautiful branding right here. We also have lighting that casts that up, so at all points of the seasons, day and night, you're gonna see that. Walking over here, we have the Anderson 200 series windows, and we have our true style doors for this project, which is really nice from the Andersons because we have that fiberglass composite on the outside and we have a wood inside, so that softens the inside of the house or the building. And they created this really cool signage, lets you know when they're available. Most people just have those little stickers. This is very cool. We played with different options for lighting in here. We ended up going with recessed cans to go cast down. If we look down here,
you'll note that the finish on the concrete is not actually tile, it's a stencil. And we went back and forth with a couple of different ideas, and this one is where we landed.
Problems trying to figure out how to address the front, how do you enter the building? Because originally our handicap accessible space was over here, but we have this giant step, and how do we achieve that with our requirements for sloping of ramps and everything? So we moved the accessible spot, and this becomes more of a tertiary entrance. Most people are going to park over there, they're going to enter from the side. This is just for all the Instagram moments and to really draw you in from the street so you know this is the store. We've got some lanterns here on the side the owners have added. We've done some changes. The original design had the sign up here, lighting. We got a much bigger sign over there. What do you think, Sydney, as we're looking at this building, this beautiful entry here? Do you think it has that residential feel?
It does. It's very warm.
Very warm.
I can see myself sipping on a glass of wine right over there on those.
On the Adirondack.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. The owners did a fantastic job dressing up the space as well. All the interior design was done by them. We did a lot of back and forth on that, but it worked out really well. And a lot of this design comes from their team as well. Their team of designers that do all the production and creative aspect of their businesses. They were able to utilize that on their own building. So that's also very awesome to be able to bring that in and gives them an even greater sense of ownership. The landscaping also, I think that plays out really well because it starts to feel more residential. It feels welcoming. It doesn't feel stark like a lot of commercial spaces do when they're just in a strip mall setting. This is very welcoming, and they were telling us earlier that they get a lot of people that come in and they're just dumbfounded about how beautiful this space is now. What do you say we walk around a little bit more and then we head inside? We can check out the back patio. The right hand side here, we won't really touch on that. That's more for UPS deliveries and really for their employees when they're sending stuff out. They do a little bit of some of the production stuff on that side as well.
Part of the beauty of this outdoor space is the vaulted ceiling on the patio.
Not really a big fan of the low flat ceiling on an exterior space. We want to make sure we open that up so that you get as much natural light into those spaces as possible. It also brings a lot of natural light through those double doors into our retail space. We'll see in a little bit. We've got our awnings that were custom built by our contractor.
As you can see from the blueprints that I created for the awning design, they were intended to be a traditional timber frame with a hybrid roof structure to allow for our electrical to fit. When I stopped by the construction site to take a look at the progress, I realized that our contractor had framed the entire roof box for the awning instead of doing it in a timber frame structure. Now, I'm not sure exactly why they did that, but I think even with that change, they turned out just fine.
That give you a little bit of coverage before you walk in and out of these doors. I think that's really important. If we didn't have anything like that, it was a rainy day, you would step out or step in to unlock that door and just be getting rained on. So we want to make sure that we have those covered. And we're doing it in a way that ties with the entire aesthetic. I think the key here is everything matches. Everything tells the same story. So all the little details from the brackets for the awnings to our porch deck, all of it matches. It tells the same story. It's cohesive design. What do you think about that, Sid?
I agree. I think it adds a lot. It's the little details that make you feel like this is homey and something that you would see in like a residential space.
Exactly. Back over here, one thing to note for those that are more technical in nature, we have our electrical system. So originally there was a pole out at the street and it ran a cable to the top here and then in. To prevent that, and then also to accommodate for all the other stuff that we're doing on this project, we buried that. And the service line comes in here. We've got our service here. this cooler system here is actually a generator switch. The area here, when we started this project, that was their condensing unit for the building. It wasn't on the roof, it wasn't. What we've done now is one of those giant, massive things, and it was tucked into this area. This did not have a wall here, didn't have a roof. We created this roof, and we created this wall. This is actually just a shed. So you be able to open this up and see inside. That was original. So we have a space for a generator that's vented. And in the event of a power outage, they can run the facility. This here is our vent for our industrial range hood, because in a commercial facility, if you have a kitchen, you have to have a commercial range hood. So we've got all of that accommodated for, and it changes the aesthetic of the building by being able to get rid of that wire. Now we can have all this added as well. A little technical for you guys, but it is something important to note. We're gonna head back over here. What is very nice is that we've already got all the landscaping in. Some of the trees are planted. They're gonna grow up and they're gonna really give these spaces all of the privacy that they need. Even back to the left here, as I'm gonna let Sydney walk past me, and I'm gonna turn around here. You can see we have our drive aisle that comes in to our parking area. We've got our parking here, but we have a swale to catch any runoff water, and we've landscaped the whole right-hand side of that. So as that grows up, it's also gonna give a little more privacy. We've got a neighbor here, and what we wanna do is really make sure that they don't feel like they're living in a commercial area, that they're being respected as well. On the right-hand side, we've got this beautiful trellis, rose bushes that are gonna grow up, and it really starts to show that design intent for the residential feel of this building. It starts to create a very beautiful space. You don't need a lot to do that. All that is a trellis and the rose bushes and a lawn, but it still elevates that. And this is the rear patio. This is a space for the employees of the business to relax, to take their lunch breaks. As you can see, they've got it set up for that right now, but it also elevates in a way that still feels residential. We look out onto a yard. They have it planted, beautiful plantings here. Some of them are doing a little better. We are at the end of the season. This is October now, and they have a fantastic rear yard. So it still starts to feel very residential. Our neighbors don't look at something that looks like the back of a Walmart. They're actually looking at something that looks like a house from this angle. To talk about the cohesive design language, we tie everything together. So you haven't seen anything that doesn't look like it matches the front. The back is just as important. We have our brackets with our awning back here. That was all custom built to match the front. We actually were supposed to put one over there. The roof lines didn't intersect, but it looks just fine. And that heads into the office, so they don't tend to use that door very often. Production facility door is where they come in more often than not, so that works out just fine. And then that's basically it for the outside here. If you guys have any questions about what we did here or comments, let me know in the comment section below.
I have a comment.
Yeah, go ahead, Sid. What do you have a comment about?
God sees the back of the house too.
That's absolutely right. I had an old architect tell me once, God sees the back of the house too. When you neglect the back of the house, it's not just the people at the street that are seeing the house. It's everybody who ever experiences it. They see all of it. So it's key to make sure that you're taking the design and the language that you've created for the front, making sure it goes all around. You don't want to come to the back and be like, oh, just a blank wall.
Keep the vibes flowing.
Keep the vibes flowing. We'll go with that.
The original structure had no real thought put into the parking layout. The narrowness of the lot and the building's awkward setback dictated that a majority of the added parking would have to go on the right-hand side of the building. Because of this and the multiple uses that this building now has, a majority of the people who visit this building will enter from the right-hand side rather than the front, making the experience of entering from the right rather than the front just as important.
If you guys aren't already subscribed to the channel, definitely hit that subscribe button and be sure to like this video and share it with anybody else that might find a project like this interesting or want to check out the Redbird Gift Shop. We're going to head inside right now. This is their kitchen area. It's intended to be part of the entertaining space out here, so it blends back and forth. That's why we have the double doors.
Before we started the project, our outdoor space was an overgrown gravel lot, and the door leading to the kitchen was a garage door that was used for delivery access.
As we head in here, you can see we do have the double doors behind us. And this is a commercial space, so remember, we do have to have all of the elements of a commercial space. We do have our exit signs, we have our illuminated exit sign up here, we have our other exit signage here. So those are requirements when you're creating a commercial space. But as we pan around here, it definitely just looks like somebody's kitchen at their home. And that was very much the intent, blending the design styles and really tying it all together. The inside is just as important as the outside, and marrying those two design languages so it does feel like it's the same space.
To give you an understanding of just how big of a transformation this building has undergone, this space that I'm currently standing in was once the storage and delivery area for the original deli. Back half of this space had 3 walk-in coolers that were falling apart, and the whole space was subdivided by a stainless steel wall with double doors in it. This was the building's condition right after my clients purchased it, and I was going through my initial walkthrough. We weren't sure what the original structure of the building was, because on the outside we have a gable roof, but on the inside we have these concrete T-plates, and we were really able to understand what was going on once it was finally all cleared out. At some point in the past, the flat roof probably started leaking, and to remedy this, they put a traditional gable roof on. The T-plates made running our ductwork a little more difficult in this space because we had to drop that below them, but the open span that they offered allowed us to lay the space out exactly to our clients' needs.
And then this is going to be the kitchen area. So they've already got all the rough plumbing in. And you can see there'll be like a countertop bar here. And then the inside there is all going to be kitchen. And this is that like flex space that's going to allow them to have like an event, but then flow inside outside over there.
We've got our Anderson windows over here. As you can see, we talked about them on the outside. These are the 200 series, so we've got our wood windows. They're wood on the inside. They're clad with a fiberglass type material on the outside. And we have kind of a little window seat, but it's not quite. It's a little narrow, but it works great as a plant ledge, and that's because this building is concrete block, and then we had to bring the walls out even more to make sure that we were meeting our energy code requirements. And so that brings this very deep wall that's actually the entire building is very much like this. You can see how deep that wall is, and all the windows and the doors, you'll see we have these nice plant ledges.
Makes it very quiet in here.
It makes it a bit quiet. We actually have a layer of foam that runs the entire length. It's a rigid foam board. Then we have an air gap 2x4 framing that's infilled with batt insulation. So this is actually a really highly insulated building. Plus above us in the attic is dense blowing insulation as well. Our owners tied all the aesthetic together with our nice wainscot here. And that runs the whole length of the interior of this building on the retail and the event space side of things. That really brings that homey vibe to this space. As we pan over here, we're going to be entering the actual kitchen area. And so this kitchen is intended to look like a residential kitchen, but it's actually a commercial kitchen. So that comes with a whole set of requirements that you don't probably know about if you haven't worked on commercial projects before. But some of that is our ventilation. So we need to make sure that we are ventilating the space as a commercial kitchen would. And so that's what this range is. I think the guys that created this for us, it was custom built, actually did a fantastic job. We've got a digital panel, everything here, and you don't see the fire suppression system. It's all tucked up inside here. And that's in the event of a grease fire, they can douse the fire right away. We also have spaces that are completely open underneath our cabinet spaces, as well as under the sink here. And that's for accessibility. If somebody is in a wheelchair, they need to be able to utilize these spaces. And in a commercial kitchen, that's all the more important. So if you have a wheelchair, you need to be able to tuck under here to use the faucet. The same, to be able to use the workspace, you want to be able to tuck under there. So we have to incorporate all of that. And then also, our space, while it feels residential in scale, we're just a little wider because we want to make sure that a wheelchair can spin around in here. So if somebody is working in this space, they can back up, go to the sink, back up, and then also open the refrigerator. without being encumbered. So these are all things that are very important when designing a kitchen in a commercial space. Not only that, but all the cabinets or countertops are easy clean, so you can very easily wipe them off. And the red is incorporated, as Sydney reminded me a minute ago, the Redbird Gift Shop. So they incorporated the red color because of the Redbird. Do you have anything else to add there, Sydney?
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, I think it would be a little bit drastic in a residential space, but in a commercial space, plus there's a lot of white and kind of cleanliness appearance to the building itself. Yeah, with the subway tile and everything, so having that pop of red, especially in a space that is not always going to be seen by patrons of the shop, but it gives that feel. It actually ties it all back to the purpose of the building.
Exactly. And you know, to go to that a little bit more, where Sydney mentioned it, not everybody's going to see the space. Clients may actually see the space because it ties to our outdoor event space. So I touched on this a second ago, but we have the double doors here. So these doors can open up, out, and then we have an indoor-outdoor space that blends in here. So if they're doing an event, they're doing a teaching event specifically. I think they said earlier that they had a sourdough class. You can utilize the kitchen and go in and out very easily, unencumbered. Or if you're hosting a bridal shower or something like that, set up in here with all the catering stuff and then have everybody out there for the party.
A BYOB wine and paint.
BYOB wine and paint. Everybody tuck those bottles into the fridge. We're gonna head back over here and then we're gonna go back outside and then enter into the front. But before we do, you'll see those design elements we talked about, they're tying in the whole way through here. We've got our painted the cardinal, the wainscot continuing, barn door that matches. Our carpenters were thoughtful enough to note the wainscot top and then tie that in the same banding of the barn door. That's something to think about. It's all cohesive, it's all thought through. You aren't mixing and matching things. When you look around this space, it really is very fluid. Off to my right here, we have the utility. So how do you run like a space like this, the guts of it? This is basically the central nervous system of the building. 2 air handlers, because the space is so big and it's subdivided into multiple different little areas, because this is about 4 different additions that had happened over the course of X amount of years before our current client bought the building. So we had to subdivide it and zone it. So we have 2 different zones, air handlers for that, and you'll note the plywood in there, and that's because when you do a plywood wall, you can mount to it. So it added a lot of flexibility to that space. And then just behind Sydney is the hallway that splits right to, I guess to my right, goes to production and offices, left goes down to the retail.
Where I'm standing was originally part of the commercial kitchen for the deli. Straight ahead there was the hallway access to the front of the building. The big space that we're in was subdivided by that stainless steel wall with the double doors. To the left is the walk-in cooler. Now we have this bright, beautiful hallway that has a direct view corridor from the back of the building to the front with a side hallway taking you to the commercial kitchen we just installed. So we don't get in our photographer's way. We're actually leaving that part of the building and headed towards the front to continue the tour.
So this is the front of the building, and originally the building did not have this extension. This was something that we added to be able to give a covered space for the patio and a lot of alternative options for how you set up an event. We played with different options for signage. Originally, the deli that was here had a sign that was out at the street. It was actually harder to see than what this is because it was elevated, and this being a 2-lane road, you're zipping by that before you're actually seeing the sign. Now your eye is drawn to the building and their bright, beautiful branding right here. We also have lighting that casts that up, so at all points of the seasons, day and night, you're gonna see that. Walking over here, most people are gonna park over there, they're gonna enter from the side. This is just for all the Instagram moments and to really draw you in from the street so you know this is the store. We've got some lanterns here on the side the owners have added. We've done some changes. The original design had the sign up here, lighting. We got a much bigger sign over there. All right, guys, so as I mentioned before, we have our photographer Alexis shooting in here. So We're gonna come in, she might be in the shop, but that's all right. We're gonna check out the inside of the building now from our front door entrance. As we open here, we enter into our retail space. And as you can see, this is a dramatic transformation. What was once a deli that you probably wouldn't have wanted to eat at is now a beautiful retail space. They have all of the products that they create themselves, as well as local artists and vendors. Outside, I touched on this. So when we created this space, we want to make sure it was light and bright, but the ceiling was incredibly low. This was built in a way where we have wood trusses above us, so we couldn't go any higher with the ceiling. To basically counteract that, we have a board and batten ceiling that's painted black. Your eye is drawn down to the lower level of the space and then everything that's in here. It's a very cool optical illusion that makes the space feel much taller, especially with the lighter, wider walls. As we pan over back to where we just came from, we had to replace the original storefront door. It was an old aluminum system. Didn't work out real well. It did not meet the aesthetic that we were trying to go for with that residential aesthetic. Bringing in a door that is also the same as the rest of the doors ties everything together and also gives that residential feel with our divided lights. On the right and left, also Anderson window, but we wanted to go much bigger. This is a store, and when the smaller windows that were there, they were just about, I'm going to say about here, and we dropped it down a little bit, added a new sill, installed these windows, and so now we get a lot of light in here, but also anybody driving by on a nice day can see all the products in here and really get a sense of what it is that's happening on this side of the retail. One of the other key elements here for the design was that we keep the brick. So this is a single brick wall. It's very thick, and these dimensions you can see, it's almost the size of my hand. That's a one wide brick. Kind of made some things a little more difficult, trying to get electrical to the side, trying to get lighting or anything like that over here. So we were able to save the brick, leave it exposed. And that now matches the columns on the outside as well. They're painted in that white that matches the rest, but we left it the raw natural brick on the inside. It really softens the space as well. We have our second set of double doors, and this also creates a connection to the outside. In the event that there is an event in the space, in the retail location, it can connect to the outdoor patio as well as connecting directly to the kitchen space. So we have this kind of symbiotic relationship between the three spaces, and that allows for the most flexibility and utilization of the space to facilitate any kind of event that they might want to have. Anything to add there?
No, I just want to shop after this.
Oh, yeah. They do have all kinds of really cool stuff here. So again, I'm gonna link that in the description of the video. So if you guys do see anything that you like, you'll be able to find it. We've got our point of sale up here. This space was just really quite open. We did have to do a lot to make it up to date and really meet code. I'm gonna splice some of the other footage in of what the building looked like before, and you're really gonna see this is dramatically different. On the right-hand side, we cut into the wall. This is a concrete block wall here as well, the whole space. The right-hand side, we cut in access to a closet, so that they have storage space, and then over to the right here to really add to that residential feel. Our clients wanted to make sure that they had a fireplace. So we're leaving the retail portion of the building, and we're headed down this hallway. But one thing I want to mention before we get too far, we had to add restrooms, and these spaces needed to be ADA accessible. So I'll just tuck in here just to this one real quick, where you can see the space. These spaces do end up having to be pretty large when you're creating an accessible space, so the bathrooms end up being pretty big. Another thing that is required in a commercial space are water fountains. So because we have this view corridor from the very front of the building all the way to the back, we want to make sure we tuck these in so they don't interrupt it, but also you have to accommodate accessibility. How does a wheelchair come in here? And so by tucking it back and having space on either side, we're able to do that. And it also creates a very nice little alcove for that. Again, we had another accessible restroom to the back there. To our left is the kitchen. behind this barn door is the production facility. And this is where the employees do 99% of their work. They have storage on the right here. This is really just an open span. And if you remember what the building looked like when we first started, it was a concrete box. There was a catering facility on this side of it. The deli was up front, and they had different coolers that subdivided this space. When all that was ripped out, this was just a giant rectangle with a concrete ceiling. We did lower that to accommodate for the HVAC system and all the electrical. Onto the right here is storage for all of their production. The left is their actual production area, or one of the actual production areas. You can see we added all these windows. Originally this was going to be their office area, but we flip-flopped it. Office is back there now. These windows bring in all that natural light. As I was talking to the owner earlier, not only was this kind of a difficult thing to achieve because we're cutting through the concrete block, but the value you receive on the back side of that is astronomical, because now you have all this natural light into this space that was just a dark, dank area. And it really elevates it. It's going to boost morale for the employees because you get to look out onto this beautiful yard here. On the left here is another production area. So this is essentially just a big room. Back over here we have another little storage area. That sliding barn door partitions off so that when they do have clients or potential people up in the retail section, you can slide this closed and they don't see the means of production, or you could slide it back open and you can see who's coming and going from that space. We're gonna finish off here in this area, which is the office.
Before we go on showing you what the office looks like now, we got to show you what it looked like before. This was the final addition made to the building. It was all concrete block. At one point it had a flat roof that failed as well. They ended up putting a gable roof on top of it. It actually was a cooler section that had an insulated concrete floor. We ended up ripping out that middle concrete block wall because it was no longer structural.
And as you can see, the carpeting changes. They still have the drop ceiling, and so it softens this space. They have a vinyl plank that runs throughout the rest of the building, and that helps with cleanliness in the production area and the retail area, because you want to soften that in the office area. So carpeting, drop ceiling reduces that noise. Hard surfaces bounce the sound waves, where soft surfaces, they soak that up. Again, we have a lot of windows and doors in this space, the Andersons and the True Style, and that brings a lot of light into the office area. You can spend most of your time here in the office and having the views out into the yard. Absolutely beautiful. You open that up and get natural ventilation in here. What do you think, Sydney? Before we end the video, anything else you think you want to add about the space?
No, I think it's really been a success, and that's what not only the owners have really gained from this, but the neighborhood as well. They've gotten so many comments from the neighborhood and the community that this has really benefited everyone. Congratulations to them, and really we just appreciate them including us on such an amazing transformation.
I appreciate you guys for sticking around and watching this video for as long as you have. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below. I am an architect, so if you guys are looking to work with me on a project just like this for yourself, you'll find my contact information in the description below, as well as the contact information for our photographer and the Redbird Gift Shop. If you guys haven't already subscribed to the channel, definitely hit that subscribe button, hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. We're going to be coming out with more tours of my projects and how we helped our clients achieve these final products. We hope to see you guys for those videos as well.